Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Awaken the World's A Day at the Monastery, a 12-hour live retreat. Today, Saturday, November 17th. This is our final session, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, right here on the Awaken the World group page. Hello, Jennifer. Hello, Carol. Nice to see both of you this evening. It's been a while. So we had quite the exercise to end the day's retreat with, and we're going to talk about the purpose of the retreat today. The purpose of the retreat today was multifold. One, it was for myself. I needed this today. I needed a day of meditation, a day of contemplation, a retreat. And what better way to serve yourself than to serve others? We have spent the day dealing with ourselves, dealing with judgment, our condemnation of ourselves, our lack of compassion towards ourselves. And we are so happy you could both be here this evening. And Sandra as well. Hello, Sandra. I see you pop up there. That's great. So as I was saying, the purpose of this retreat was to begin to work on the issues that tend to plague us. Judgment and condemnation, especially of ourselves. One of the common things we'll hear ourselves say is, oh, I knew better than that. I know better. Why did I do that? We must learn to forgive ourselves when we fall into those unconscious states. And I see Janet Lynn is here as well. Hello, Janet. How are you? Great. We've got the whole crew this evening. That's just fantastic. We'll absolutely love it. So if you had taken part in the exercise was to write a few pages minimum and open and honest writing, preferably from a place of automatic writing, of paying more attention to a mantra within and just allowing yourself to write it out. And I'm going to share a little bit of what Kelly has written after talking with her. And she managed to write, 3, 4, 5, 6 pages, a little more actually, 6.5. And I'm gonna read a little bit from it. So this is from Kelly, and Kelly's been willing to allow me to share this with you all. So I am going to share it with you, and if you wish to share some of what you're written here through a comment, please feel free, or we can always talk about it in person at any other time. So this is what Kelly had written, and I'm not going to read it all. I'm just going to excerpt a little bit of it. Dear Mom, here we are again. I love you so much, and it pains me that I am your thorn. We have laughed and loved together. You have cared and nurtured, and yet judgment on my choices has always been there. I cannot blame you. Your upbringing was fearful and hell-bound. Your father preached it from the pulpit. Your home life was driven by having to be a perfect example of a preacher's kid. Somewhere in that journey, you met a beautiful, loving man, my father, whom you joined with before you were officially married. The secret for all time was to be that I was born out of wedlock. No, not in a minister's home. But I came along, loving, submissive, and wanting to please. I loved Jesus with all my heart, and was determined to always serve. Our family upheld and practiced all that was good and moral. My father could not have been more patient and loving, always caring, always providing security. I could not have asked for more. Then, one day, as a young girl coming into her own, around 12 years old, my loving family flew apart. My mother came screaming and crying down the stairs of our house, claiming that Jesus had come back and we had been left behind. I was shocked and confused, numb more the feeling. What had gone wrong? In a daze, I walked to school that morning in shock. Soon after, my father came and received me out of school. Mom was in the hospital with a nervous breakdown. On the outside, it looked like it had been before, but there was a small... Oh, sorry, I missed the page. The days and months that followed saw a different mother. She was no longer loving and caring. Instead, I experienced a lady who would jump up and scream at people if they came into the house. I see now that she accepted those with love, but not phony people. Sometimes she just sat and conversed quite normally. My relationship, however, changed. I became the child who tiptoed around her, tried to please her, not upset her. Otherwise, I was subject to yelling and ranting. Sometimes I would just lock myself in a closet and cry. So that's just a couple of pages of what Kelly had written. And honey, thank you for being willing to allow me to read that out loud. I know it can be tough. What do we take away from our experiences? In here, the child who went through her mother's breakdown at 11, 12 years old, in these pages, is sometimes still present in the room with me. I've seen this child come out in Kelly. I have seen how that initial nuclear relationship and those things that Kelly took upon herself to be her fault or her responsibility began to shape Kelly's life, began to shape her relationships. Now, we can look at this and we can feel bad. We can feel terrible. Kelly is sobbing right now, and I understand. I really do. And hopefully you've gotten yourself a new cloth since you gave me yours. Here's the thing, though. It is not Kelly's fault that she was born out of wedlock. It is not Kelly's responsibility that she somehow drove her mother over the edge. That the sin of her birth out of wedlock became a constant thorn in the side of her mother. This does not belong to Kelly. And yet Kelly will still try to hold on to this. We have all gone through these things in one form or another. And what happens is we equate part of who we are to what has occurred to us. We believe that it is part of us now, that it is actually part of our being what has occurred. You are far more than the sum of your experiences. Far more. Debbie, I see you made it very early in the morning for you. Nice to see you here. I don't know how you're here. I would be dead asleep. At least I would hope I would be. But we're glad you made it. We really are. So in reading this from Kelly, and I'm going to go to the last page, and we're just gonna we're gonna carry on just a little more. I never got over this. And Kelly is talking about leaving home at 29 years old without the express approval of her parents. Many years later, with under-the-breath remarks from my mother on her perceptions of the second husband and his ungodly family, I took on the guilt and it stuck. When the pedophilia event came up, because her husband was convicted of being a pedophile, the guilt was so great that I only thought I had to stay with the marriage. The guilt that she carried, it was her fault in her mind. My father died right in the middle of the court case, and my mother, I think, flipped. The ex was, and her mother believed that Kelly's ex was responsible for killing the father. I believe she had another breakdown. Caught in a web again, I tried to fix everyone and everything while keeping a family of 3 boys together. Again, my mother and I did not speak for over a year. This has come to 2014 when there was the last blow up with her mother around Christmas time, I would guess. And that was the last conversation that Kelly ever had with her mother. She's talked to her briefly one time since, and that was after 4 years. This is a prime example of what happens in our lives, and Kelly's journey is our own journey. You know, in my case, my father was sexually abusive. He left home and ended up dead by the time I was 10. My mother had lupus, and before lupus was even known, and it was a horrible disease to hit her. One of the biggest things about lupus is, of course, stress, and my mother had loads of stress, being a single sick mother, especially back in those days. My mother was known to be a seer, as all the sisters in her family had some psychic gift, and my mother came to me right around my 12th birthday. As a matter of fact, it was on my 12th birthday, and told me that I was the Antichrist and doomed to destroy the human race. Now, you could imagine, as a young boy who loved God, to hear such a thing, to imagine such a thing was even possible. And for many years, I allowed what she said to keep me from ever taking any position of power, to ever taking any responsibility for anyone outside of myself, out of fear that I would somehow take them over and then continue that takeover process. We live with our earliest impressions of ourselves. Those impressions are deep. It takes a lot of time, a lot of understanding, a lot of forgiveness, a lot of non-judgment with yourself to let go of the false guilt that you hold, that you are responsible for another's behavior. Letting go of this judgment, letting go of your own damnation, your own condemnation for the events and the way other people behave in your life is of primary purpose. It really must be addressed. You are never responsible for how someone else chooses to be. You are only responsible for who you choose to be. We need to take this to heart. We need to allow ourselves compassion, to allow those around us compassion. To this day, Kelly does not hate her mother. Far from it. She loves her mother dearly. But at the same time, Kelly struggles mightily around the holidays, around times when families should be together, because Kelly wishes for family to be together. But in the level of consciousness that they are in, there is no hope for that in this moment. And yet, there is always hope. We live in an evolutionary universe. Everything is serving. The events of Kelly's life that appear quite traumatic and difficult on the surface, and I am not knocking the fact that they may be to the person, but they have led Kelly to where she is today, where finally she was able to say, enough. I am no longer responsible for how someone else chooses to be. And Kelly chose to take responsibility for herself and the way she felt. And in that one moment, in that one expression, honest expression of her being, the magic began. I appeared in her life. She appeared in my life at just the right time too. And the rest literally has been magic. We continue to grow together. We continue to expand. We continue to evolve. And our goal as a couple is conscious growth. Not to get rich, not to have a big fancy house. We've been through those sort of things. It's all about conscious growth and spreading that conscious awareness, helping others to grow. All the things that occurred in Kelly's life, all the things that are occurring in your life are serving you. You are lovingly cared for, even in the midst of what you would judge to be so harsh. And of course, again, not minimizing what anyone is going through, we must always be aware that even in our worst situations, there are others that would wish to be where we are today. I see that Janet says here that my mother shot and killed my stepfather. My brother was shot and killed by the police. My grandfather was burned up in his house, and my grandfather died from a massive heart attack, all in a year and a half. Then my mother had a complete nervous breakdown. It is tough. It is what we do, how we react, what we choose out of our fears, out of our guilt, out of our lower conscious states that bring us to this point. And the point we are brought to is a point of being near broken. And it is in that near brokenness that our ego is momentarily snapped. And there is a doorway there, an opening to something so much larger that we have access to. Not every person will take that doorway in this life. Not every person will take the doorway during the event. Many times, that door is covered in fear or guilt, and we must wade through it in order to get to that door. The door to awakening consciousness, the door to the realization that despite the seemingly horrific events of our existence, there is an everlasting love there, everlasting growth, everlasting evolution of being, and ultimately, what we are can never be harmed. We are here for the full experience. We will experience through every lifetime, in every way, every aspect of what it means to be conscious within this universe. It is our path to grow towards alignment with our higher selves, to stand for those things that we have been taught to stand for through the trials and tribulations of our lives. I would imagine, Janet, that you have become amazingly compassionate towards others when you find out that they have lost family. There are other gifts hidden within, gifts which I'm sure that you have become aware of. We stay in our own personal hells until we choose to leave them. And leaving it is not always easy. You know, I had posted that post this morning, and it was the post from an anonymous female crystal meth addict in Vernon. And I'm pretty sure I know the person who wrote it. But aside from that, the interesting thing about that poem, if you read it closely, is that poem is a microcosm of an entire lifetime. It speaks of loss. It speaks of the tearing away of self. It speaks to a feeling of hopelessness. And it also speaks to faith and to hope and to love for yourself, a love and understanding that you are neither to blame, nor are you guilty, nor is it your responsibility for what has happened in your existence. It is a collective responsibility, a collective effort. Many actors on the stage, many parts were played. You know, Kelly came home from the Beauty and the Beast play a few nights ago, and she said, you know, looking at the play, she's very aware of the roles, and she's very aware how that mimics the roles we take on in life. The problem is we become typecast in our lives, and we're the ones that does the typecasting. We become like Leonard Nimoy on Star Trek, forever Spock. So whatever it is that happens to us, we judge ourselves based on that, and then we typecast ourselves. And we assume wrongly that that will never change, that that's who we are now, and we live our lives from that diminished sense of being. Part of this exploration, part of this growth is the understanding that you do not have to live from that smaller place. And Janet has said, now I know where they are and they are not dead. It's amazing to know. And that's exactly it. Nobody dies. Nobody is lost. That sea of consciousness holds us all. Every incarnation, past, present, and future. All there, all alive, all completely real. And returning here again and again to experience life. We are now going to meditate. If there are any questions, we will address them after the meditation to be sure. If there's anyone else who wants to speak a little bit about what they've written or ask any questions, we will stay here tonight as long as is necessary. I have chosen for the final meditation Om Shreem Burzi Namaha. The reason I have chosen this particular meditation is to do with wealth. This meditation has been commonly used to generate money, and I don't live my life that way. I don't. I have a deep faith and active expectation that all of creation cares for me. This mantra, however, can bring us a wealth of spirit, a wealth of connectedness. It is a mantra that speaks to our egoic state where we feel like there's never enough, or there's not enough, or there's a lack. That lack can be in our love life. That lack can be in our sense of connectivity. That lack can be financial, fiscal in nature. This mantra speaks of the true wealth that we have, the abundance of spirit, the abundance of this physical universe, and the abundance that is available to us. With that, I will remove my face, and we will return to the candle. And perhaps for this evening, we will engage the surf one more time. I would ask that you come to a comfortable place. Allow yourself to be upright. Your neck and head in alignment with your spine. We come together tonight across time and space, not to wish for the abundance we seek, but to understand it is already ours. You may use the candle, your own icon or image, or perhaps you just wish to have your eyes closed. Tonight we meditate together one last time. Om Shri Burzi Namaha. Om Shri Burzi Namaha. Om Shri Burzi Namaha. I will no longer accept lack in my existence. I see the abundance in my life. I allow an abundance of connectedness. An abundance of love, an abundance of compassion, an abundance of joy in my existence. Om Shri Burzi Namaha. 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 There truly is no lack in my existence. The abundance of all creation stands before me. I allow myself the awareness to recognize this abundance, not only today, not only in this moment, but in my darkest moments, in my most fearful moments. I will see the abundance of my very being, the abundance of love and compassion that is held for each of us. Om Shri Burzi Namaha. 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 Om Shri Burzi Om Shri Burzi Namaha. 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 Namaha. In the silence, in our quieted mind state, together for the first time, we engage in japa, a divine prayer. Creator of my existence, the one sea of consciousness from which all life manifests. Hear me. In my false sense of self, I find myself small and weak. I am in need of your inner strength and guidance. Allow me to see with the eyes of truth the reality of my life here in this physical realm. Allow me the peace of understanding that there is no judge, no jury, no executioner at the end of this existence. Help me to hear the messages that you have hidden all around me. Help me to see again with new eyes the circumstances of my life. To understand they were placed before me lovingly, compassionately, to help me grow and expand in my conscious awareness. Allow me to recognize my connectivity and connection with all that is. Allow me to see the divine everywhere my eyes may rest. Allow me to hear your voice on the wind. To feel your whispering touch in the soft breeze that caresses my skin. Allow me to become aware that I am held in your arms. Bathed in divine golden light. Never lost. Never alone. And unconditionally loved and accepted. Just as I am in this moment. Om. gently. When you are ready, you may open your eyes. Return to the realm. Return to the physical. I think that was the very first time we ever engaged in japa together, in prayer. Wayne Dyer spoke of japa many times prior to his death. The peace of entreating our higher self. For when we pray, when we engage in meditation, we are not engaging in trying to communicate to some far-off realm. We are instead communicating with the divinity present right here, right now. I see that Terry made it. Hello, Terry. Nice to see you this evening. I'm glad you made it here. This wraps up our first day, our first ever day at the monastery. Personally, I've really enjoyed this 12-hour period. I have spent months upon months upon months in monasteries, and I love the feeling of spending a day communicating with my higher self, staying in that place of silence, that place of peace, recharging the batteries before we head out into the illusion again. It is my intent that we do these 12-hour day at the monasteries far more often. Perhaps we will schedule one in December based on people's wishes and what everyone thinks of this one and whether they found this beneficial. If there's any further communication, anything else that you wish to discuss, and you're not comfortable bringing it up here in the public forum, you can get a hold of me privately via Messenger. We can video chat. Kelly's available too. We're here for you. We really need to learn to be here for each other. Because in being here for each other, we are here for ourselves as well. This is the gift. The wondrousness of serving others. There is no other to serve. You too are served in the serving. I'll take one last little look at the comments here. Make sure we're all on board. Great. I'm so pleased that there has been benefit. Excuse me. I hope you will take these lessons to heart. I hope you will look at yourself with more compassion, less judgment, less recrimination, less condemnation, and allow that to spread out from your source, from yourself. Much love to you all tonight. It's been a wonderful, wonderful day, and I am grateful. Namaste. Peace to you. We'll see you tomorrow morning, 9:30 on the Help Awaken channel for another morning meditation. Good night.